Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Educational Currency Podcast. I'm Chris Kalabakis from Maximum Education.
I'm Robert Namoski from the Coaching College and Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu. Well, this week we're a bit stuck for a topic, so we're surprising Chris with Chris Week.
Oh, that's just fantastic because that happens to be one of my favorite topics.
Chris Week, eh?
We felt we needed another week on Chris, eh?
Absolutely. So, Chris,
yes.
how's your week?
Look, it has been quite the eventful week, okay? And look, obviously I've been talking with Rob, he's my good mate at work, and we're kind of talking about all the stuff I get up to, eh? You know, part of the job outside of school and all that.
Yeah,
and,
all the bits and banter. And actually, that's how this podcast started, from our conversations in the playground, watching over the Year 12s. And it was actually Chris's idea. He went, you know what? Podcast would be something fun me and you can do. And here we are. But it is Chris Week.
Yeah.
So, Chris, give us a rundown on yourself and what is your role at the school?
So basically, and look, I know I mentioned it in the previous episodes before, I'm classified as what's known as a Leader of Wellbeing at the college that I work at. And so a Leader of Wellbeing is like in charge of a year group. They get called year advisors, year coordinators, and we're tasked with looking after the students in that year group. I've got 180 students in that year group, and if there's any kind of factor that could pertain to their well-being, I'm like the first point of call for the students and for the parents. So whether it be that they are unwell and going to miss a period of time at school, if there's relationship issues at the school among students, areas relating to bullying, areas related to stress, any type of mental health, those things usually come to me. And then I'm tasked with obviously supporting students in those environments. We're dealing with teenagers, and obviously it is a very complex time. So in many cases, it's not often reported to me. It's sometimes me seeking them out. So I've got to know my year group very well, and I'm very lucky to have a fantastic year group who I've been with for the last 3 years. They're the Year 12 group now at the school, making me the Year 12 Leader of Wellbeing. And yeah, it's been an actual great experience. Though I've been with that year group for 3 years, I've been doing the actual role for nearly 10 years, and I've had some fantastic groups of students coming through. It's a very rewarding job.
Is this your first Year 12? Or have you had them before?
No, I've had this group 3 years in a row, so I've had them since Year 10. Yeah. But this is actually my first time with Year 12. So we're actually at the end game now. So we're getting ready for the HSC. The boys can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, we're talking about what are you going to do beyond high school? What pathway might you take? You know, can you go for a scholarship? You know, what jobs might you do? It's a very exciting time in a young person's life.
Well, Year 12s now are building up for their trials. So how are they going?
So look, that is the topic of the moment. So at this current point, I know that it will be later when this actually gets out. It is actually the week before the trials. So it's high stress at the moment, and it takes a lot of obviously monitoring them and seeing where they're at. Students have been working incredibly hard and they know it, you know, and I'm sure at every school, people are working hard, but there's always that fear, you know, I'm going to walk into the exam and then I'm just going to have a mental blank or I'm not going to remember a thing.
Yeah, because what I found is the trials are the most difficult exams.
Yeah. That ironically came up twice today, you know, with two separate groups of students. They're like, is the trial harder than the HSC? And the short answer is no, okay, in the context of it's the same structure as the HSC. It should emulate the same format of the HSC. But its development in that, or trial exams are put together by a group such as CSSA, an independent paper, whereas the HSC is heavily scrutinized, obviously developed by NESA. A lot more eyes see the paper. Okay, there's a lot more scrutiny of the HSC paper. So that's one reason there might be a perceived difficulty change between them. Second reason being, you do the trial before the HSC. So the trial's like the practice HSC. And so you go with a bit more confidence into the HSC, don't you?
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. Because like we say to the students, the trial is the first time you will see a 3-hour exam. Yeah. You've never done that before. And all the stress and anxiety and the things that you miss during the trial, you've got 7 weeks, 8 weeks of revision to get ready for the HSC.
Yeah.
And which, in this case, so you are the Year 12 coordinator. So what's involved being a Year 12 coordinator? What do you have? Meetings? Do you speak to parents? So give us a week in the life of Chris as coordinator.
Now, when it comes to meetings and communications, there's a lot. That's a lot of the job. And look, the role is allocated a point allocation in the system I work in. So my teaching load is reduced so that I can do all these communications. I'm talking to parents every day. All right. If anything comes up with a student, I have to contact them, or from their end, if there's things going on at home, they contact me. A big thing with Year 12 specifically that they want to communicate on is things that might be impacting on them working to their full potential in their trials next week. So there's been quite a few communications on that, just saying their sons have the correct documentation that if they are sick next week or if something happened this week that impeded their study, they've got everything sorted out. So on that front, but then also the stress of their children too. So what avenues can they take? Do they need to speak with the school counsellor? Okay, what guidance can I give them to hopefully reassure them that they're going to be okay? You know, you prepared, you've studied hard for this. So that's just on the parent communication front.
So from your experience, what advice would you give parents when communicating with the coordinator?
So when you call up the year coordinator and you do want to get guidance, okay, firstly understand specifically in my role, my area is wellbeing. I can't really help you out with curriculum. So helping you out with subjects, complaining about teachers, it's going to go nowhere with me. I'm not in charge of any teachers and their teaching and learning. Okay, my responsibility is your children and making sure they feel safe and happy at school. I can redirect you on people that would be better to talk about that stuff, but really my area is the constructive support of the student. Okay, so that's the way we want to talk through it. Year coordinators, leaders of wellbeing, they are an excellent source of information because we all obviously do care about our children. Okay, and there are many complexities. If you're ever unsure about anything, feel free to call. Now, it doesn't have to be a phone call either. Everyone's busy as parents. So if it's going to be an email, you can email us and we'll get back to you. And that's the way we'll communicate as well. Okay, so phone conversations, email, whatever suits you, that's the way. If things do get more complex and you feel like you need a little bit more, you can also organize meetings with a leader of wellbeing. Usually you'll be a leader of wellbeing and it might be my superior with me as well, who's the leader of student wellbeing, who oversees all the leaders of wellbeing at the school and is tasked with that across all year groups. I could also involve the assistant principal too. But then if it does relate to curriculum, it could be me then with one of the subject heads or the curriculum coordinator or leader of learning. So
do you actually sit with the assistant principal in these meetings with the parents?
Yeah, and so in particular meetings. I've had meetings and it depends on the scenario and the degree of where we're at with whatever topic we're addressing. So if it's a severe behavioural issue and it's ongoing, well, then it's going to be me and the principal in that meeting, okay, with the parents if we're talking about a severe behavioural issue. If it's a subject support, then it's me with the curriculum coordinator and we're sitting down there. So if it involves Year 12, it's more than likely I'll be at that meeting. And that goes with all the other year groups and their respective leaders of wellbeing. So just on that front of communication, it's extremely busy, okay, as that first day of the job. But then you also asked a bit more to that too about meetings in general. Yeah. So let's say there's an event coming up, okay? And look, we've got multiple events this year. We've got graduation, we've got formal, and then we've even got blocks of when the students are going to be on assessment periods. Mm-hmm. All of those involve meetings, okay? So with our community and engagement leader at our school, okay, it involves meetings once again with the curriculum coordinator. We bring in external supervisors to supervise our exams. So we're going to have a meeting that involves them as well. So there's also consistent meetings with teachers as well to organise these events. And particularly being Year 12 coordinators here, it's actually been a fantastic experience for me because I've just learned so much from the leadership team at our school, just seeing how structured they are. They were talking openly. From that point, they developed a checklist, and they started allocating jobs to people. Like, it was a fantastic team to be sitting with, and then, once again, developing my own personal growth, which was an amazing experience too. But so that was another layer of meetings on top of those meetings. Then if I go to meetings one more stage, I'm still a teacher. So I'm also having meetings with my faculty and my year team and all that.
So how wait a second, that sounds like that sounds like a full-time job on its own.
Yeah, just the meetings. Yeah.
So how do you, in that case, what's your teaching load like? So you're obviously a year coordinator.
Yeah.
You just gave us a rundown on what it's like. I think I myself didn't quite understand the extent of it until you informed us now. What about your teaching load?
So, look, as I said earlier, they do give me what's known as a point allocation, which is a 2-point allocation, which means I'm probably down 2 classes compared to a normal teaching load. So I teach 4 classes. In saying that, because I'm a computing superstar and, the man when it comes to educating and computing at a particular level. But all 4 classes are senior classes. So I've got 2 Year 11 subjects and I've got 2 Year 12 subjects. I've got a Year 12 IPT and a Year 12 information digital technology vet.
And they're all ATAR courses.
Yeah, well, the vet subject, you can be ATAR if the students are going for it. And this year, predominantly all my class is going to be sitting the exam, so we are targeted that way. And IPT is an ATAR subject too, and we've got a mammoth class, and they're all going for it too. Both highly motivated classes. It is actually the last year of IPT being taught as a part of the HSC this year too. So it's actually a great way to be finishing off with this group who are highly motivated. They're a part of my wellbeing year group as well, and I think we're going to do great too. So it's a nice way to farewell the subject too with the group that I have in Year 12. So that Year 12 loads a lot, obviously, especially right now. As said, it's about Chris's week, approaching the trial period. But then we go to my Year 11s. If IPT is finishing, well, then I'm teaching a new subject in Year 11. We're teaching this enterprise computing subject. So every teacher across New South Wales is really winging it with this subject.
I heard there's a really good textbook written.
Well, there is a really good textbook that's been written, and it's only just recently came out.
I've got connections with the author, so contact me at...
Yeah, that's it, hey? See if you can sort a deal out for us.
Yeah, we'll sort you out a deal. Well, no, but seriously, you actually wrote the textbook with that as well. So it's brand new subject.
It is a brand new subject.
Brand new textbook.
Yeah.
It hasn't been taught before. What are the challenges?
Yeah, look, many, because it's a senior subject.
Now, here is the question, but it's Chris week. What are the challenges in Chris's week?
Yeah, look, really, obviously the textbook has come out, and look, thank God, that the textbook is out now, so we've got a reference point and it's got a digital version, and, it's really helping our teacher learning. But the thing is, it only did just come out, so, and I speak for every computing teacher who's in the same boat here. We've been trying to just ravage resources together and implement them in our programs and really try to stay one step ahead of our classes. The new syllabus is interesting. It goes over things like cybersecurity, interactive media, and networking, all that. So it's stuff the students really want to learn about. So it is very relevant. But then we're trying to be relevant too. So we're trying to find relevant YouTube videos, and we're trying to find relevant information to teach this new stuff to our students. But being computing too, a lot of this stuff's very modern and new, and I haven't really had any upskilling in my knowledge. So I've got to research and find out what are some of these concepts I'm talking about. And, and so that is a big factor in this too. And once again, with all my computing peers as well, that we are trying to figure it out. Now, I don't have it too bad because I've only got the one new syllabus subject. There's actually 3 that came out this year in computing. So some of my peers are teaching enterprise computing and software engineering, as well as the stage 5 subject, computing technology. All 3 came out this year.
But does the stage 5 subject leak into the stage 6 subject?
Yes,
so
it
you
does.
are sort of building on the content from like maths does from one to the other.
Yeah, it will. But the thing is that the current Year 11, they're the anomaly because they did the old syllabus, computing stage 5 subject, and they've gone into the new stage 6. So they're learning a lot of stuff brand new. Whereas students that come after that have done the new stage 5 subject, it'll be much more streamlined.
So, question that comes into mind for myself: student loves that subject, enterprise, what's it called again?
Enterprise computing.
I was going to say enterprise bargaining agreement, but that's something else.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Okay, we won. It's all
good.
What
about union mates for that one?
What about union mates for that one? Enterprise computing, student loves it, is into their computing. What future job prospects or careers are there if the students do find your subject very interesting? Where would they go in university?
So what they've kind of done, and it's clear by the units of the subject that they've really tried to map it out that it aligns with specific university courses and specific professions. Like the first unit is interactive media user experience. So that's for UI design and really the creative side of developing online platforms. You make them look nice, but it's targeted at giving users an authentic user experience when interacting with the system, because these days businesses are conducted online and your website is pretty much the front of your store, so you want people to come there, you want them to continue to revisit and use your service ongoing, continually purchasing from you, but then also recommending to people. So that's the first unit, interactive media. Second unit, networking systems and social computing. So we're talking about how the network is the foundation. So that leads students into pathways of network architecture and, developing infrastructure so a business can operate with a network behind it, as well as connect to an online network for that storefront. If we're going to talk about then networking, well, then the third unit of the prelim course is cybersecurity. Okay, we've got to make sure that these systems we develop, they're safe. Okay, cybersecurity, it's the modern form of warfare now. That is how crime is happening. Okay, so students are learning about different tools that can be used to protect systems. What are vulnerabilities in systems that have led them to be prone to cyber threats? So it is very modern in its pathways. Going into year 12, it builds upon that even further. They do things such as data analytics and data visualizations, okay? Because really, data is the foundation, and yourself in the area of mathematics, of decision-making for any business. The ability to analyze data can help plan for the future and assure that you are committing to and investing in a successful pathway. So very relevant.
Absolutely. Yeah. But then at university, where would they go?
So,
where would you recommend? So, if your students are sitting in class, they love their subject, and they go, "Sir, what profession can I have with this?"
So, a lot of them go in. Look, if I can go back to what previous students have gone into, a lot of them have gone into look at UTS first and foremost. UTS seems to be the best place to look for university degrees in the technology field. In saying that, Sydney and UNSW, they've got great courses too. It's just the opportunities they got there. So UTS, there's the Bachelor of Information Technology. A lot of our students have gone into that, and that's a broad one. But from there, they can actually go into things like cybersecurity and data analytics and database administration, and it helps align them with workplaces too. Okay, that they can do internships as to help prepare them then for beyond university. There are other students who've gone to overlapping courses, such as like information systems and business. So it does do this stuff about developing online platforms and all that, but also has the business component of the degree too. So you're actually learning in the context of e-commerce. Once again, developing that storefront. Okay, so that's a whole nother branch of university. Then you do have things such as just database administration, where you are setting up the foundations for how data will be stored for a system. So these are all different university degrees. The big one I said before as well is cybersecurity at the moment. The fact that the new syllabuses, this subject, enterprise computing, and also IDT vet, the other subject that I teach, both now have units catering towards cybersecurity, and in IDT, data protection. Like, it's clear that they want students funneled in that direction, because I think Australia is prone to cyber attacks and we need skilled people in that field. So there are many ways it can go. There's hardly any other ones I mentioned. But
sounds like we're getting into James Bond.
It is. We are getting into James Bond. Okay.
No, it's interesting. But yeah, in all seriousness, ASIA could be a place of employment.
Well, 100%. No, 100%.
Yeah, ASIA could, a student finds a lot interesting cybersecurity, and off you go, work for our government body. And
you've highlighted well too, because it's not even that they're going to work for a computing company. They could be working for any business in any industry, because they all need an IT department. They all need cybersecurity protection if they're operating on an online platform. Like, even us in education, we have an IT department ourselves. The banks, they pay very well for people, who understand network architecture and cybersecurity architecture. So it's not just that they're going to go into computing and only work at places like Google and Apple, which are fantastic. No, they could be working in any business and being very successful with their computing skills.
Yes, really that's a really good look at the future, right?
It is. And look, I'm biased, but man, I'd be recommending young people at least do one computing subject, because it just future-proofs you.
Well, you've done a few more things than just writing a textbook, especially working with computers. So obviously, you've got yourself a podcast. Yeah. Doing quite well with it, young man.
Doing well. I get to work with a really good team, a really good producer,
Absolutely. Cannot thank her enough.
Yes. Thank you, Kate.
She's still pointing at something for us to say, but we'll eventually get there. She'll work out slowly, Kate. We move at a slow pace, me and Chris. But then on top of that, you've got your YouTube channel, exam writing, HSC marking, etc. How do you balance your week?
And look, with all those things too, they're not all within 1 week, but usually I'm working on one of them during the week. And so one of the things that actually led to me being able to have time was my kids, obviously, they have activities, and obviously we had my daughter's ballet teacher in here a few weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. So while my daughter's at ballet, I'd go down to the library that's near us and I'd have time to work on something. So that's when I do work on those things. So at certain times, it will be things such as writing independent papers and being a part of that team to get exams out, or it could be writing out podcast scripts and thinking about what we're going to talk about for the week, or creating the PowerPoints that end up becoming my YouTube videos. So that's where I find time, and then maybe 1 hour at night as well. The school holidays is where I get a lot done. That's when I will sit down and focus on doing something like in a block, a larger project. And that's where I did a lot of the writing for the textbook. And while the year 11 textbook is out now, I'm currently working on the year 12 textbook with the same team, and they're a fantastic team too. So many great educators. And one of the great things about doing all these projects and benefits is this whole networking aspect. Like, I'm interacting with people who are enthusiastic and doing fantastic things at their schools and have such great ideas in the realm of technology. And, it's good I've got that network to communicate with when I'm unsure about what to do and where to go. So there is ways of finding time to do all this stuff, and it empowers you because, the first thing that I did that was kind of outside of just classroom teaching was YouTube. And I might have said it back when we did talk about the YouTube video, is when I got in that context that now I'm not just a teacher in a classroom, I'm an educator. I'm an educator beyond the classroom. That is my passion, and that's why we're here. We're passionate educators. You're beyond just the classroom. You want to spread education. You want to value that industry. And when you got that, well, then that gives you the motivation to do more things and more projects and, find teams of other people to work with on great projects, So that's a big part of how it gets done.
Oh, it sounds full on.
It is
when you actually list it all and go, okay, wow, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, it's in the field of education. That's your passion.
Yeah.
And it's your life's work basically laid out in front of you, which is very inspiring, especially for young people picking a career.
Yeah. And I should say too, in the context of young people looking ahead, but also to all my peers out there too, I am part of all these teams and I'm doing lots of great stuff, but I stuff up all the time. I got to say that as well. And, you got to be honest too. It's good, once again, to have that support team around you. I'll even say with the textbook, we did a first draft that we digitally sent out. One of my sections, I actually wrote about the completely wrong thing in one section. Thank God the textbook hadn't been printed yet, because we were able to pick up on it and they were able to fix it. So, you're going to make mistakes, but the goal is to put yourself out there initially. And people will support you if you can own your mistakes, and then rectify and change them. They will support you when working on this stuff. But the thing is, you got to put your hand up. You got to put your hand up. Get yourself in these situations where you are learning. And like I said, that's my first time running a textbook. I am flying kind of blind. It is new territory for me. And so I learned from that experience too. I learned I better read my stuff better.
But that's what gives you personal growth.
Indeed, 100%.
So you really threw yourself out there, in a very uncomfortable environment. Never written a textbook before. And actually, on a syllabus that never existed before.
Well, that's it, It
doesn't get any. You throw yourself in deep water, sink or swim.
Right now, what are we doing?
Podcast.
We're throwing ourselves out there, Here we are.
What are we up to? What episode is this?
What is it? Episode 9. So
episode 9.
So that'll be 19. Your season 2, so it'll be episode 19.
Lucky the maths is better than mine. get all the calculations done. But but like you said before, you have to move forward. This is very important. We've mentioned it before in the past. You should not be the same teacher you were definitely 5 years ago. And there's many places in your career, especially when you start teaching, where you can get that growth and development. So what are you working on in relation to your career progress?
So, and look, this is something I always try to keep mindful of too, because we're talking about obviously my work on projects just then, but then I've also got to do things that keep me upskilled and relevant and hopefully continue to grow in the teaching hierarchy too and give me opportunities as well. So right now, I've been working on accreditation. I'm working towards my highly accomplished accreditation, okay? And as we said in the week of Chris, I actually just submitted it this week.
Oh,
so
wow. Congrats.
My final part of it, okay? So my final modular part of that. So fingers crossed, that's done, And
well, explain to a layman, what is that highly accomplished accreditation? What does it mean for a teacher? And what did you have to do to get that?
So what I envision it as is it's recognition from NESA that I have done things that are at a highly accomplished level. Now, what would that mean? It means I've done things that are seen as this person is a manager at school and he collaborates and looks after other teachers. So most teachers, when they finish university, after the first few years, they then got to show their proficiency. And then the majority of teachers are classified as proficient teachers. That is what it's called in NESA. They are proficient. So becoming highly accomplished is optional. Highly accomplished is the level above proficiency. And then there's a level above highly accomplished called lead, being a lead teacher. But in that area, you do have to be a school leader. Okay, so you're either on a leadership team, you're a principal, you're an assistant principal. So I probably didn't have enough to access that levels yet. So I've gone this highly accomplished level. So I feel like I've done lots, and I've just listed lots of what I did there. Yeah. But as well as with my well-being as well, I can show that I am a teacher that supports other teachers and does other practices to learn and grow and support students in dynamic ways. The hard part is you've got to show it across all the standard descriptors. Okay, and there's 7 categories of them and about 36 in total. So that's where it can get difficult because you're not just highly accomplished in one area, you're highly accomplished in all 36. So that's where the challenge was. The actual process involved me doing 3 modules. So like I said, I just submitted module 3, but I had to do 2 earlier modules and also getting about 4 observations. 2 observations from peers at work, okay, who are mentors to me, okay? 1 where I can observe a peer and make my own notes to show that I'm learning from my peers as well. And then 1 from an external observer, okay, who is someone who is lead or highly accomplished to view me as an independent party and to kind of verify all the things I've been saying in my reports are true. So there is a lot to it. It's quite rigorous. It is quite rigorous, but I believe in the system. I believe that, I want to solidify that I have done lots of great stuff and for that to be recognized. And there are many other teachers out there like that too. So I really want to promote that. But I'll talk more about that stuff, I think, in a future episode. But still with the professional growth stuff too, other stuff that I've done as well that's kind of helped me in my progression as well. I've done my master's in educational leadership. Okay, that was a decision I made about, how old's my son? I think about 8 years ago because I finished it when he was born. That's been a big help to me too in getting ahead. I teach vet, and vet involves you getting other certificates. So I've got a certificate 3 in information digital technology and a certificate 4 in training and assessment. Like all these little things, they add up and they go across systems too. So if I left the system I was in, another system would value that as well. So it helps you stay ahead. And it's funny, when I was actually doing my master's, that's kind of when it clicked in me too. Like, I'm putting a lot of time into this and, it was good. I finished. When I finished it, I realized that time that I was using on that, I could put my time into other areas. And that's how I kind of got involved a lot with projects, as well as mentors at my school saying, get involved with projects. So that's one thing I really want to push too,
So it was the work ethic of the masters. You just kept going.
Yeah. Okay, then I realized, that time I was putting there, maybe I could work on, putting together my own resources and
must have had a good schedule.
Yeah, it did. Well, that's it.
Yes, absolutely. Scheduling.
Well, if we go
absolutely.
back to schedule, actually, I should have mentioned this earlier with the students as well when we're talking about preparation for next week's trials. The one big advice I've been given, and I've gone off on a massive tangent just now, okay, get a good night's sleep.
Absolutely.
Get up nice and early. Have a good breakfast. Get to school early. Okay, really get that morning routine right. Because we've said it before, they get in this vision that, do that all night or stay up late. But they're going to...
We even, in my classes, I actually give them the schedule for their 2-week holiday break.
Yeah.
Where we actually, the times you wake up, the subjects you will be studying, we have 3-hour blocks per subjects, and we roll it out through the week for 2 weeks. And then they come back to school 2 weeks later to do their trials, and then we sit it for another 4 weeks for the HSC.
Yeah.
But getting into that schedule makes or breaks you. And just judging from what you've done, so your masters put you into that work schedule ethic, and you just kept going with it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
well done.
It helps, routines are everything, aren't they? And they break it too, but then you've got to get back into it, eh?
But going back to our topic, it is Chris Week. Yeah. So we know a lot about Chris and everything you've done in terms of your career and progressing yourself through your education. But we want to know about Chris. So, away from the education, away from teaching at the school, so what else is there about Chris?
Well, look.
Family, life, leisure, exercise.
Yeah, look.
I heard he wrestled as well.
my deep dark past.
The WWE style.
Yeah,
Was there any spandex involved?
That can stay a mystery for now.
Mystery
my
for
spandex
now.
wearing. We'll keep some things
We'll
hidden.
keep some things hidden. Some things have to remain private.
Back when I had more luscious long
Lush.
That's
So
right. But look, and a big thing that obviously you are correlating with there, work-life balance is a challenge. It is a challenge for everyone at the moment with cost of living being so high too and that. But like I alluded to with my daughter at ballet, I try to integrate when I'm doing certain projects when the kids are doing stuff and I have time to do that. So I do it that way, or at night it's when they go to sleep. But I really do try to be there at dinner time. I try to drop off and pick up when I can, and really share the load with my wife. You've got to be a team if you're going to make it work as a family. So really supporting each other there. My wife, she works too, so we've got to really work together when we can do things when we can. Some weeks it's all family. Family's a priority, and I have to push the projects back and things get, pushed back. And like I said, that's where school holidays is the opportunity. When it's school holidays, I am at home with the kids, and they're very supportive of me when I've got to do my work, and they'll go on. It's actually, I think, a good thing for my children at home to see me working on projects and being constructive, because I think it builds up in them that it's good to sit down and be creative and work on your passion. You instill that even as an adult. They're not just doing it as a child. Hopefully they follow on and use their time resourcefully, to be creative and make great stuff and develop their own skills.
But what is your number one leisure activity?
My number one
leisure activity. Away from work, away from all this productivity.
And outside of family.
And outside of family.
Family's number one.
Yes.
I'm a computing teacher, and the reason I'm a computing teacher is because I'm a massive Nintendo fan.
Not Atari?
Still am. Not Atari, man.
Come on.
Atari nearly led to the video gaming, downfall of the 1980s. You know what resurrected it?
What?
Super Mario.
I don't know. I got as far as Pac-Man.
You missed out on the wrong era.
Pac-Man did it for me.
No, so when I do get a chance, it's not as much as I used to be when I was a young person. But obviously, it is always good, to have your safe space, playing, Super Mario, playing Zelda, playing Mario Kart.
So what's the number one video game you enjoy? Super Mario.
Of all time?
Of all time. Oh.
Now, probably the Zelda series is number one for me. My favorite game of all time for a long period was Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which came out the same year as my HSC. Okay, but the new one's out on Switch, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're quite immersive and these big, beautiful open world games. And it's funny, with the gaming structure, I use that to introduce concepts to my students about rendering and polygons and, the AI that's behind it and all that too. So, that's how they kind of helped me understand this stuff. You have this item we use all the time. Well, then how does that help us understand how technology works?
Okay, now
it's helped me in my career having that past and obviously connect with my rapport with students as well in that area.
Now I need your desperate help.
Yes?
I'm connecting with my son through this video game that he builds things. Minecraft. So we've got some little goblins that he shoots. We've got some anger man that he can't kill. And he's building these blocks, etc. What's your take on all this?
Look, that's a hard one. Look, he's got to really set up his arrangement so that he has a solid fortress outline so it's harder for people to get in. It's old school war mentality. That's what you got to teach him,
I'm trying to get my head around this slowly.
The layers of defense, build on the high ground, just like the ancient Greeks and Macedonians do,
Okay, so I got to figure that out with my son, Minecraft.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. But so far it's been a pretty good career. You'd say things have moved along for you positively. But let's say we can reverse back time and we see Chris here 15 years ago. What's the one thing you would say to him?
Look at that. I'd say, you are such a beautiful man.
Take as many photos as you can in all ends.
He was so fit. He was really fit. He had long, I've already mentioned the hair once. You can tell that I miss it. So I would say, wow.
The hair's still there, mate. It's there. It's there.
It's not as lush as it used to be.
We can colour it.
But look, if there were things that I could give myself advice about earlier, I think I was, being young and in your 20s, you think you're invincible. So I think there was overconfidence and ego in my younger self, and I really wish I networked earlier. My saving grace early in my career, and I think we said in our first episode, good mentors. I had a great TAS coordinator. I had a great e-learning coordinator, both looking after me. I was surrounded by a very supportive TAS team at my first school. Like, I was very lucky to have them. But even if you asked any of them about me, I'd be like, my God, from who I was to where I am now, but I'm where I am now because I did have such supportive mentors there, as well as where I'm at the school now. Like, so that was a big support. So really, I could have toned down the ego. And I think, really get into networking with peers and respecting the ideas of others, because now more than ever, as I said, with working on all these projects with all these different teams, the value of having supportive networks around you, people who give good ideas or listen to your ideas and give great suggestions and great feedback and help make things happen. Making things happen, that's the challenge. Sometimes it's easy to start, but it's not easy to finish. Or sometimes there's, all that procrastination about starting. But, like this, if you weren't ready to go, hey, let's do this, I know a guy who knows where great microphones are and stand, and I know this fantastic lady who's a great producer. Like, if we didn't say that stuff, things don't get rolling. So networking and just working as teams. Like, people think these days, that hustle mentality, I've got to work on my own and do it on my own. No way.
No one does it on their own.
No.
You literally can't. Even, I think I was watching a Netflix thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he used to promote himself as a self-made man. But then in his Netflix series, he goes, that was the biggest crap I've ever said in my life. It takes a team of people to build you. And like you said, you got to start building that team around you. I mean, even in your school, people leave the school, move on to bigger positions, etc. What do they think of you when they've left the school? This could be opportunities for you, especially as a young teacher. So like they say, never burn a bridge. Never.
Very valid point too. And look, obviously, like I said, I have been in teaching now nearly 20 years now, but so many of my peers now have gone on to other things. So I do have those connections at other schools, that, if it ever came time for me to move, I know someone at that school, know someone at that school, know someone at that school. Or they might be, I know a great computing teacher and he could help out with our school. So once again, that network, treat your peers with respect, because you're all going on this journey together and you want to support each other throughout your careers too. And look, the team aspect as well, and this is true for you in your scenario too, Rob, it's same with your family. You're a team and you want the best for each other and you help each other out.
Absolutely. Nothing builds better networks than helping someone.
Yeah.
Going out of your way to actually help someone. And if you do want to build a network with someone, ask them for help.
Yeah.
And as teachers, it just comes naturally to just give that help.
Yeah, we're in this day and age where it's felt like there's this vulnerability to asking for help, but that's the reality of life, Let people know you need their help, and then you feel proud when you can help them. It is a great way to form a relationship.
You always need help, no matter what the age. I need help. I basically get help from a lot of people every week. You wouldn't be able to do the things we do here with the podcast. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks a lot.
And other things as well that it helps run the businesses as well as getting the work done at the school, and as well having that supportive partner as well.
Yeah.
Makes the world a difference in whatever you do. So, Chris, one last point to your younger self. One point where you can tell your younger self, hey, be careful, you're about to do this. Don't get it done.
One last advice to my younger self.
A warning advice.
Look, to my younger self, I think just calm down a bit. They're a bit fiery, a bit more fiery, and obviously now I'm a lot more patient, a lot more calm. But you just, when you're younger, hitting the gym, a lot more fired up. Like, what? What's going on? I think just, Chris, calm down, man. Calm down. Actually listen to what people are saying to you. They're giving you good criticism. Just listen to these people, okay? So that would probably be my younger one. Swallow your pride. Listen to what this person is saying. You'll be better for it. Respect the opinions of those around you. Like I said, I did have great mentors, but I wish there's sometimes I can think, Chris should have stayed a bit calmer, okay?
I think it's the age-old saying, if I'm not young, I'm dumb. How am I going to be old and wise?
That's, well, yeah. You know what?
It's one of those things. We all fall into that trap.
But I hope I get to the old and wise part. You know, still on the journey.
Well, I've still got. Well, the hair's not graying enough, Chris.
Let's see how we go.
It can do with a bit more. I'm winning in that department, but then I am 10 years ahead. Okay, this is so. Any one last comments on Chris's week? Well, look, before we wrap it up,
if there's anything I need to add to my week, because like I said, there's a lot happening in my week. They're very busy weeks. In my own personal journey, I need to have more time for exercise and fitness. Like really the only exercise I'm doing, is walking. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting out. I'm very active at work in my role, walking around the school. And I try to make scenarios where I can walk to places, that will give me at least qualify as exercise. But I would really like to get back into the gym, something a bit more active, a bit more skipping in the morning. So that's actually my challenge. I've got to get my health up.
There's this good place I can recommend, Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, yeah?
It's across the road. Look it up.
Yeah?
Yes, they have morning classes, Chris, Monday, Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30.
What's the master like?
He's okay. He's not too bad.
Yeah, he's not going to beat me up, is he?
Not in the first month. Once he gets that direct debit form signed, could be a different story.
Then you earn the headlock.
then you earn the headlock. Okay. Thank you again, guys, listening on to our podcast. And I'll get it right this time. Kate, watch. She's there in the background.
You want a drum roll?
What was it again? Like, subscribe. And share. That's the one.
That's all right. It's better than last time. That's about a 4 out of 10. It's a work in progress, 10. Okay? No, I think we leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Or share, like, subscribe, or subscribe.
That's all right. We'll try again next week, Rob.
We'll try. Look, I'm doing my best here, man.
It's a journey. Okay?
Look, I got as far as Pac-Man.
You did.
You did. Okay. Thanks again, guys.
I'm Chris Kaladakis from Maximum Education. Thanks for listening to All About Me this week.
And I'm Robin Namoski from Ultimate Jiu-Jitsu and the Coaching College. Thank you again, Chris. Take care. Bye.
We had some fun.